Hello, it is Monday, May 6th, 2024. Welcome. I hope everyone had a terrific weekend, but of course, now we're back at it. Today is a great day to go out there and grow your company. Why? Because if we're doing it correctly, we're focused on customer needs. So we're making a difference in their lives, and that is absolutely critical. We have a number of great topics to discuss today related to growth and marketing. First up, Rowley talks about companies win by focusing on the customer first and how HubSpot's doing that through AI. Then Pieter Kemps talks about how AI is ushering in a new era of one-to-one software. So that's super cool. And Kamil Rextin on one of my biggest pet peeves, but it's more than just a pet peeve. It's something that will keep you from having accurate marketing reporting. And so we'll discuss that. And then finally, it seems like everyone is talking about founder-led growth, but how prevalent is it really? So we dive into some data related to that. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, I want to take a look at this post from Rowley. She says, there's never been a better time to shine the spotlight on who matters most, your customers. If you follow my journey, you know the customer is my North Star. In every role I've had across all companies and through every market iteration, two fundamental truths have always guided my actions. Your customer is your boss, your happy customers are your best advocates. The need for innovation in products and go-to-market strategies is widely recognized in the industry, but the critical question remains, for whom? The answer is clear, the customer. Companies poised to thrive today in today's challenging market are those that place customers at the heart of their strategy and operations, prioritizing customer connections above all else. And so this is a really important point to raise because as we enter this era of AI, it's important to ask the question, are we implementing AI for the customer? Are we doing that, or are we doing it to keep up with competitors? Or are we just doing it because it's a cool new technology? And she highlights that she thinks HubSpot has done a terrific job. Embedded AI across HubSpot's platform empowers marketing, sales, and service teams not to just do more with less, but to achieve more by doing less. This approach is about enhancing effectiveness and impact, merging siloed data, predicting optimal interactions, automating repetitive tasks, and facilitating a seamless customer journey. And I agree. I posted almost a year ago about how I was impressed with how HubSpot's integrated AI into their platform. And that was, really just a few months into the hype around generative AI. So HubSpot really took the lead here. And I do think they've been focused on what the customer is trying to achieve through AI, not just AI for AI's sake, but focusing on helping customers, which is a key point here as we think about integrating AI into our products and services, is how can we actually make the customer lives better. Next, let's take a look at this post from Pieter Kemps. And he's talking about how AI is going to change the way software is developed. And as marketers and people focus on growth, you may be like, I don't really care about the way software is developed, but I think its impact is going to be substantial for us. And let's take a look at this article to see why. He says, software is frozen. It's static, rigid, and flexible. He says, here's why. If you're a mid-market fashion brand, you might be using the same CRM as a furniture manufacturer or small accounting firm or building materials importer. Even though those businesses are fundamentally different, the needs are different. Square peg, round hole. So there's one software platform that's supporting all these different industries, even though they have vastly different needs. And he says mainstream coverage of Gen AI is all about the impact of ChatGPT. And that's true. We hear a lot about how it's influencing writing or search, text, those sort of things. But he says what's being missed in this is the massive impact on software and software development. He says these Gen AI software development tools are changing how software is being developed. Soon it will impact how software is being consumed. And this is where it comes into us as marketers and people focused on growth. Over the last 10 to 20 years, software has moved from monolithic to microservices and now moved to the next phase, powered by Gen AI. Think flexible building blocks with text prompts to decompose, recompose, integrate, and create fresh new code to deliver brand new features, functionality, data schemes, workflows, and more. Think no code on steroids. And here's the example he provides. Imagine being a small wine importer and buying a basic CRM module. Then verbally describe your needs for pallets and cases as the main unit of value, specific import fulfillment rules for wine in your country, integration in your inventory, etc. The workflow, the UX, all tailored to your needs, not from a template, but freshly created from scratch by AI, exactly the way you want it. So imagine this: the piece of software that you get is going to be one to one for who you are. And that's really going to change everything. I think we've all experienced the frustration of using tools. You're like, this isn't doing what I wanted to do. He says through Gen AI, that's going to change. And so, I just talked about the article from Jill Rowley where she's saying, generative AI in HubSpot is really improving marketers' lives. But this is going to change everything. This is going to be like you're going to have a piece of software designed just for you. And so the future is going to look very different if this comes true. Okay, next, I just want to talk about this post from Kamil Rextin. He says, my biggest pet peeve when it comes to B2B marketing is seeing website in a lead source report. And this is so true. I mean, a website is not a channel. A website is not an offer page or how they found you or what they converted on. A website in a source report is like saying water is wet. My second pet peeve is when folks confuse campaigns with lead source. Although as marketers, we call everything a campaign. In this case, I'm specifically talking about from an operations point of view. So this is, and this is a short post, but I absolutely want to raise this because this messes everything up. If you're doing this, you're never going to get to clean data from an attribution standpoint. If you look at your channels, your lead sources, and it has website, chat, whatever it is, mixed in with organic, paid, social, you're not going to understand what actually drove traffic to your website and how it's converting. And it's unfixable. So if you have take a look at your lead source data. And if those things are mixed together, go out there and fix that today because you're never going to get to a good place as long as that continues to exist. And your historical data is not going to be good either. So this is absolutely critical. Short post, but this is such an important point. And so it absolutely needs to be addressed quickly. And finally, I want to take a look at this data I pulled together on founder-led growth. It seems like everywhere on LinkedIn, you see people talking about founder-led growth and their success with it. So it made me wonder how many founders and CEOs are actually pursuing a founder-led growth strategy. So I took a look at 85 SaaS CEOs working for companies with under 50 million in revenue. And what surprised me is I could only find 3 of those 85 were actively pursuing a viable founder-led growth strategy. And so there's no broadly acceptable definition of founder-led growth, but here's how I defined it. Shares original thoughts in a meaningful way multiple times a week. This doesn't require a build in public, which you may have heard of, but they should be offering unique insights on the company, brand, and product. They post content with a perspective and authority on the industry that could only come from the CEO. They actively engage with others on LinkedIn, and they participate in other channels like podcasts, webinars, etc. So that's how I'm defining the founder-led growth strategy. And the thing about it is these CEOs are on LinkedIn. 85% of them are doing something on LinkedIn. Only 15% of them were just no post, not engaged at all. So most of them are engaged in some way, but very few of them are pursuing this founder-led growth strategy. And so here's just a few data insights I found from this. The most common posting type was repost. And I highlight this because these reposts have almost no value. It's just resharing a company post or resharing a post from someone else, and they don't add any original insights. And so only 32% of the CEOs were posting original posts, and because a few of them were just doing comments. So anyway, most of them were not actively posting meaningful content. 28% had posted in the last week, but for 43% of the CEOs, the last post was 3 months or longer. So they're on there and they do post occasionally, but most of them are not posting on a regular basis. And so just under 12% post multiple times a week, but over 50% only post a few times a year or less. So they're not posting often. And then finally, 91% of the CEOs have less than 10,000 followers. And that's kind of just an arbitrary number, but a number that should be easily achievable by a CEO with who has an active presence for a company with over $1 million in ARR. And I think there's a few reasons why this for this. One is that the founders that you read and follow on LinkedIn, they're really good at it. Like if you see their content, it's meaningful. They engage in a meaningful way. And I think that's hard to do. Not everyone's able to do that. So that eliminates some of the CEOs who are like, I just can't do this. I don't have the skills to be able to do this. It takes a significant time and effort to pursue the strategy. And so there were some CEOs who looked like in the past they were headed down this founder-led growth strategy, and then they just stopped. So they might do it for a month, and then they stop. And so it's just they just didn't have the time and effort to put into this. Third, I think it's challenging for marketing teams to effectively represent the CEO. It was clear from some of these CEOs' presences that the marketing team was doing it for them, but they couldn't say anything interesting on behalf of the CEO. And so that's why you see this 85% level of engagement, because a number of marketing teams were doing it for the CEO. But that's why it doesn't look like founder-led growth, because they can't represent the CEO well. For some of these founders and CEOs, I think they lack the technical expertise to be able to contribute in a way that looks like founder-led growth. So they may be great leaders, but they may not have the technical expertise to be able to say, I'm going to add something meaningful for the company or industry. And so they just choose not to participate in a way, which is totally legitimate. I mean, if you don't feel like you have something interesting to say, it's better not to say it. And then finally, there are different ways to pursue founder-led growth. We've worked with a few companies which were definitely founder-led, but they just weren't active on LinkedIn. And so they were giving speeches, they were engaged with the media, they were sharing content. It just wasn't on LinkedIn. So this doesn't encapsulate all founder-led growth. I was really focused on LinkedIn. So there are other ways to do founder-led growth. But that would be, so that's the other reason why I think it's not as prevalent as you may expect. And what do I think about all this? I see this as an opportunity. If you are starting a company or have a company that's in an industry without a clear authority out there, without a clear brand leader, or especially from a CEO standpoint, this is a great opportunity for CEOs and founders who meet the criteria to take advantage of this, because it does work. I think the thing that we see from the active engagement from these founders on LinkedIn is it can work to drive growth for your company. And it really helps with a couple of critical factors, which is brand awareness, storytelling, building authority. So having the CEO or founder develop these presences can be very beneficial for the organization. And so I see this as an opportunity, and hopefully more of these CEOs take advantage of it. All right, that's it for today. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow.